Gentlemen, one more time, let's make it official. MVP and Shelton Benjamin. Appreciate you guys taking the time to join us for a little panel, a little Q&A, maybe some business? Perhaps some business. So this is a Q&A panel, so go ahead and have your questions locked and loaded. I do want to limit it to one per person in the early going here, just to make sure we get through as many people as possible. But I myself am still a huge wrestling fan, so I'm going to selfishly take the first question myself. You two have been around the world who knows how many times, numerous incalculable accomplishments, championships. At this point, after being in the business for so long, having worked for so many different companies, what moments in the business, and I mean all of it, the signings, the wrestling, the world travel, what moments at this point in your career excite you the most, and have those moments changed over the years versus 10 years ago, 20 years ago, or even prior to that? It's an essay question.
It's a very timely question because Shelton and I were talking about that just this morning, about how fortunate we've been to have made a living for the last 20 years in the wrestling space. I mean, we've worked for virtually every major wrestling company there is, every country that matters wrestling-wise. And the realization that, man, I haven't had a real job for 20 years, we've been real fortunate. But then you get to this point where now I understand that, and I was just saying, I can see the end of the road now. Throughout your career, you know one day it's going to end, and every 5 to 10 years you start to think, well, I'm getting a little closer, it's getting a little closer. But now I literally see I know that I'm retiring in probably the next 2 years.
As an in-ring performer.
In-ring wrestling performer. As far as lacing up the boots and falling down for a living and being hurt and sore from that ring, that's coming to an end. So part of the things that I appreciate so much now, that I get excited for, is understanding that, some of these guys that I work with, this will be the last time that I'm going to share the ring with them, because I haven't officially retired yet. So I'm going to have a few more matches, and these will be my last matches. And there are so many times during my career, during our career, even, I don't care what your job is, no matter how much you love your job, there's days when you don't feel like going to work. And there's days when, we'd hit the ring and be like, fuck, I don't want to bump today. I try wrestling with a hangover. See how, I promise you, that's one of the worst things I've ever experienced in my life. Every time I said I wouldn't do it again. So, yeah, you just get to a point where you start to take things for granted. You're like, oh, this travel sucks. I'm mad, rah, rah, rah. But man, I'm literally going to work in a different city every day. For the last 20 years, my job took me to all of these different places. And sometimes, I'd have to have an attitude check. Like, dude, you're flying to another country to go wrestle, to do what you love. What are you complaining about? Yeah, you take a deep breath and you go, oh yeah, that's right, So I guess now these moments, just understanding that, my career is coming to an end, that this road is finally coming to a close, that these moments that I love so much, that these are the precious last few of some of these moments. I'm just excited to experience them and have the wisdom to know to appreciate them as they're happening, because pretty soon it's all done.
Well said.
Follow that.
Well, I probably won't be nearly as eloquent as MVP in my descriptions, but just to really get straight to it, as far as what I enjoy now. Again, having been in the business for me, I started in January 10th, 2000. That's when I became a pro wrestler. And I've never had another profession. I've never had another job. And thanks to wrestling, I've been afforded an amazing life. Like, and I tell people all the time, like, don't read into what you see on TV or what the dirt sheet says, and never say poor Shelton, because I guarantee you, I live a charmed life. No matter what TV might suggest or the internet might suggest, I never missed a bill. I've put one daughter through college and grad school, and my youngest is just starting. I have a big house, and I still got a few years on the clock. But kind of like MVP, I have more past and future as far as in-ring performing. So one of the things I really appreciate now that there was no way I could appreciate it even 10 years ago is when I work with new talent, and particularly talent that have watched me as kids, and they tell me, yo, you inspired me to do this. You inspired me to become a wrestler. And, you know, to see that the work that I've done, whether I realize it or not, had a positive effect on somebody. And I think I never considered myself a role model, even though I understood that that was kind of automatically imposed upon me because I lived a public lifestyle. So I was always very careful in how I lived my life, how I portray myself, and again, to know that there were some people paying attention and learning from and gaining from, and now, you know, starting their own stories in the wrestling world. And I had a positive effect on that for me, and that especially in the last few months, like doing a lot of indies, like for me, that's like one of the most rewarding things, is to know that your work mattered and it was appreciated. And I think that applies to any walk of life.
Hell yeah.
One of the craziest things to me is when I see how old are you? Yeah, I'll see like a grown-ass man walk up to me and go, yo, I used to watch you when I was a kid. And I'm like, man, oh yeah, I guess so, huh? Damn, yeah.
Cue the Matt Damon gif. All right, with that, let's open it up to some questions. Raise your hand, I will call on you, and if you don't have any, I have plenty. So, but I would much rather this be about the ticket buying customer than my curiosity. Yes, please.
Oh, we're about to show you some of our other passions.
Hey, y'all, please close the doors and keep it down over there, please. Thank you.
I am a practitioner and big fan of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Earlier this year, I got my black belt. I was real proud of that. So, yeah, I still compete, you know, so when I'm getting ready for a tournament, you know, I got to turn it up and I got to, you know, do my little camps and whatnot. It's funny because I have a bass guitar that I haven't touched, and I swear I'm going to do 15 minutes a day. And I haven't done it. Shelton plays the bass very well because he came to my house and was messing with that same bass, and then said, "Yeah, now I can't play the bass and he can." So, you know, but that's. You know, jiu-jitsu is a big passion of mine. I love music. If you follow me on Instagram, I'm always posting shots from the concerts that I go to. I love live music. There's something, all types. And as you ask about acting, I just got Shelton's acting coach's contact information because I'm going to start going and seeing if that's something that I might enjoy doing as well. So.
I guess I have a few things. As you said, I do mess around with the bass, mostly for fun, and it's actually true. I originally wanted to play lead/rhythm guitar, and I was trying to teach myself that, and let's just say it was a real sharp learning curve for me. So I actually did go to his house one day. He had a bass sitting in the corner that he never touched. And I started screwing around with it, and I was like, wait a minute, this seems a little easier. So I abandoned the lead guitar and started playing the bass. And I post stuff all the time, and it's just one of my hobbies I do for fun. I just figured, why not just post some stuff? So that's one of my hobbies. Obviously, people that follow me know my other hobby, which is a major part of my life, is huge. Is I'm a big gamer. Like, I love video games. I came up in the era when Super Nintendo just hit the scene, and
Would you
Atari
tell this guy to get a damn Twitch? Like, how much money is he missing out on without his Twitch?
Get a Twitch.
Dude, get it up, man.
And I'm such a game addict. Like, everyone knows that. Well, I guess people in tech know there's a device called the N-Gage. Anyone remember that thing? Okay, remember how it flopped? Not at my house. If it was a video game, I played it and I loved it and I enjoyed it. And so I buy damn near everything. So that's a huge passion of mine. And to his point, I did start a not a Twitch. I did start a Twitch. The problem is now I have to learn how to produce and do commentary and read and entertain questions while also trying to win at this game. And I get into competitive mode, so I'm having a real hard time.
25%. I'll sit there and I'll read everything and answer the questions while you play.
I knew we were going to get into some business today.
And ever since, like, I recently started dabbling with acting. I've already shot one scene for a small indie movie. I have a few other projects, on the horizon. Aside from that, as I've gotten older, I will say I actually work out now, because.
Wait.
Listen. There are a number of reasons why he was one of the most hated guys in the locker room. Because this bastard walks around with this physique, and he never worked out. Everyone else getting up, going to the gym, and where's Shelton? He's like, no.
Sleeping.
He's sleeping. He's over there eating a pint of ice cream, Never went to the gym, never. And it was a thing where guys are like, and all the body guys, like, damn, Shelton, how do you look? Now, wrestlers, the amateur wrestlers have that amateur wrestling physique. And, this man did nothing. Wow. However, Father Time is undefeated. Oh, yeah. His ass is in the gym now.
Oh yeah. I'm not. I would say maybe about 5-6 years ago, I kind of noticed that when I did work out, the results didn't stick around as long as they used to. So now I pretty much stay in the gym, I'm pretty consistent these days, as opposed to, I'll work out this month. Jesus. Take off. Oh, February? Yeah, I'm good. I did a nice workout for Christmas. So.
Genetic freak.
That's wild. Quick follow-up question. Do you have a virtual boy?
I do have a virtual boy.
Oh my God!
First of all, I have been collecting games, action figures. Like, I really want to get to my table and sign some autographs, because most of the money I'm probably going to spend somewhere out here, because I'm like that guy. Like, I love action figures too, so I'm a huge collector. So I have been collecting. I have every video game system.
Wow. Pretty
much. I cannot think of one that I don't have. I have, and this is funny, I have 4 or 5 Switches, because I would get the collector's editions. I have 2 PS5s and 3 PS4s. I have Xbox One, Xbox Series X. I have a DS. I have a Virtual Boy. I have a GameCube. I have a
TurboGrafx 16.
A what?
Oh, I found one.
Okay, he found one.
I found one. TurboGrafx 16.
No, but I do have a Steam Deck, and I can emulate anything on there.
I got a real big collection of bongs.
Shelton Con coming in 2025. Yeah. Who's got more
Yeah,
questions?
you can look. Can't buy anything because I won't give up a thing.
Right here, and then red shirt.
New Japan Pro Wrestling, you were the first ever IWGP Intercontinental Champion. Would you consider being one of your matches before you finally hang it up being out there?
First of all, being the first ever IWGP Intercontinental Champion was one of the highlights of my career. What a lot of people don't know is that wrestling for WWE was a goal. Wrestling for New Japan was a dream. So, usually back in the day, guys would wrestle in Japan, make a name for themselves, get good, and then get picked up by one of the big American companies. I did it in reverse. And I had a year left on my deal, and they were trying to get me to re-sign a 5-year deal. And at the time, I wasn't happy at WWE, and I wasn't enjoying wrestling. And I took a massive pay cut. I asked for my release. I had a year left, and I went to New Japan because I needed to rekindle that flame for wrestling. Like, I wanted to wrestle. I didn't want to be a superstar. I wanted to be a wrestler again. And I had the most amazing time. Even brought Shelton over there for a while. We got the tag team. Had a good time. But I have to say that at this stage, like I said, I don't have a lot of matches left, and the Japanese style is very hard on the body. And you got to go hard. So before I hang it up, if I can get my boys back together, and if we could take a trip across the pond, I think that might be something that you can possibly see in the future if all the stars align.
That's dope. That's really.
I think, I guess the biggest way to sum it up is WWE is an entertainment corporation now. And Vince made up his mind some time ago, and I don't know if I coined the term, I don't remember hearing anybody else use it, but I was saying a long time ago that Vince was beginning the Disneyfication of WWE. And I think now we've reached that point with TKO and the merger. These are entertainment companies now. They're moving further and further away from what we've known as wrestling, because you got to think in another generation or so, like, it's going to be all like Hollywood TV people that are making decisions, and the wrestling people will slowly kind of get phased out, I think, and you'll be more through a modern, stunt entertainment type television corporation, and the roots, the heart, the soul of professional wrestling, I think will start to disappear. We're not there yet, but it's moving that way. The Attitude Era was, shock and awe. Now it's meant for families. It's meant to be watched with children. The whole John Cena era. It was, they had to come up with the new kits for the kids. The colors and the kids, the parents are bringing the kids to come see John Cena. And they're keeping a head count on how much merch they sell per person. So I think that the biggest difference from then till now is that now you're seeing a corporatized entertainment company and less of a traditional professional wrestling company, if that makes sense. Yeah, like if I don't think they changed it, but like I think now blood is banned in WWE. There's some cage matches are kind of silly now. Like, what's the point?
I would say the Attitude Era was targeting 18 to 30 males. So everything was sex and violence. And, that chasing that demographic pretty much saved the company at the time, and it ushered in a new attitude, so to speak. But as time goes by and as the company grows, you want to attract the biggest possible audience. And so that's when you start seeing it go from the Attitude Era to the PG era to what it is today. And like I said, I just saw that for example, the promo with Roman and Cody that they just did a cinematic promo. Like, one, that's not new because I'm pretty sure Lucha Underground started doing stuff like that. So that's, they're going to package it as their own, but that's not new. But at the same time, to his point, that's the way the business is heading because you're constantly refining your product to appeal to a wider audience. So to his point, yeah, in 20 years, we might not even recognize the business because I can say 20 years ago, the business that I'm in now isn't the business that I started in. And 20 years before that, it was a completely different picture. So I think with each generation, you're going to see the evolution of pro wrestling. Obviously WWE is going to lead the charge, but of course, people are going to catch on, and it's going to be mimicked, and we're going to have a whole new definition for what pro wrestling is.
I think we got time, depending on how long the answer is, for one or two more questions, and it's you in the Attitude Era hat.
Wait. You go with the Attitude Era hat over the shirt? Like, look at the shirt he's wearing, man.
I couldn't see the shirt.
How could you go with the hat over the shirt, man?
I only saw the hat.
Dude, you're always sharp as a tack. How do you miss that?
All right, I'm gonna go because this just got awkward. So goodbye, everybody. To the gentleman wearing the absolutely stellar, stylish, and amazing Hurt Business shirt.
There we go. Give that man a round of applause.
He knows what he's doing.
Speaking of the Hurt business, one of my favorite moments was you returning to WWE and blowing that faction. My question is, what role did each member of the group play, and how did that make the group stand out from other factions like the New Day and the Shield?
That's a very good question, and I appreciate that question. I think first and foremost, what made the Hurt business work so well is that it wasn't a bunch of talents haphazardly thrown together. The three of us are legitimate friends and brothers. Like me and Bobby, were at Impact together. And when I first started, when Bobby was, we rode together, and he was the one that told me, they're going to put the U.S. title on, you better steak dinner on it. And I was never happier to buy somebody a steak dinner, And then Shelton and I got to be real tight, and we lived not even 5 minutes away from each other. So we've always had a genuinely organic relationship. And when the opportunity came for us to work together, it worked well because, it's funny to me now, too, that there's a whole generation of wrestling fans now that don't even know that I was a wrestler. They just know me as a manager. So the fact that I was able to, wrestle and be in a faction with two of my buddies, and we were all workhorses, but, Lashley and Shelton are known for, being legitimate badass wrestlers. So me having the gift for gab, it was a very natural dynamic that worked. And then when we were adding a fourth member, we used to discuss what we wanted to do creatively, and then we would go in and pitch it, and we'd see what they would let us have and what we had to fix. And we wanted a fourth member. Actually, we wanted Ricochet and Cedric. We wanted to bring both of them. And they told us that we couldn't have both. We could only have one. And we discussed it, and we felt that Ricochet would do better on his own without us than Cedric would. So we took Cedric to be with us. Cedric and Shelton had a previous relationship from Ring of Honor, and he vouched. He said, "Nah, this dude." I had met Cedric. I didn't know him that well, but Cedric, once Shelton vouched for him, he was like, "All right, great." And he was awesome to work with. So I guess the biggest thing was that it was organic and it was real. And all of us had the same ideology. Like, we're all legitimate grapplers. Even Cedric wrestled in junior college. And we wanted to bring something that was different. We didn't want to be dancing and singing and happy and smiling. We wanted to be businessmen. We are capable of hurting you for money. And that's what we like to do. And then, and at the end of the day, that's what professional wrestling is supposed to be, right? You know, it's simulated combat. We do this for money, for championships. So we're in the business of hurting people. And we were all in agreement with how we wanted to present it. And, you know, Vince absolutely loved it. And we were given the opportunity to flourish with it for a little while. I'm sure you want to add to that.
Yeah. But when you ask, okay, what did each individual member bring to the table? Well, clearly he's the mouthpiece. Like, you know what? And I just thought of this. Think of us like Transformers. You know, everyone, you know, the combiners. We all combine to form something bigger than ourselves. Bobby, well, he was clearly the muscle. Cedric was the bully. I was the technician. But the funny thing is, if you remove anybody out of that role, like, for example, if you took Cedric out of it, because I consider Cedric was our bullet, our young high flyer. Well, you take Cedric out of that role, guess who has to slide in that role? You take Bobby, who was our heavy hitter, take him out of the picture for a minute, who has to slide into that role? But no one could replace MVP as far as speaking. So, yeah, he wasn't allowed to go anywhere. No days off. But I think, to his point, a part of what made the group so special, again, was because we were all genuine friends, and we all got on the same page, and we all watched each other's back, and we all, you know, when you're putting matches together, you know, there are things that we would and wouldn't allow, and we discussed it amongst ourselves. So even if we're discussing stuff and guys suggest things with a certain member, you know, it's like, no, you can't do that with him.
No.
You can do it with me.
No, absolutely not.
You know what I mean? So
No, you can't. No, your little 5.5 foot ass tall can't body slam Bobby Lashley.
Right.
No. Why did you even bring that up? No.
But you know, people will ask, and we always made it a point to watch each other's back, and I will throw out that was one of the reasons why me and Charlie Haas got along so great as a tag team, because we watched each other's back even when we weren't present. So, but yeah, it was just, we're just good friends, man.
Well, can't thank you guys enough for sharing your time and insight with us. One more time, everybody, for Shelton Benjamin and MVP. Another panel coming right up.